So going back to what we were saying earlier, contraception as a treatment, I actually think it's really controversial, and yet it's the standard. Like I'm sat there going, how are you
Really?
being able to get away with that? Like I don't understand. So the progesterone in the contraception is not progesterone. It is progestin, as we said. Now, just going back to what I was just saying about what progesterone does, that's great. I mean, that's like literally what all women need. Like we all need progesterone. The progestin actually acts, when you look at the information around it, it acts more like testosterone in the body. It ramps you up. It's an exciter hormone. It also stops, it acts as a stressor. So it stops our body's natural ability to make any of our progesterone. So it's fundamentally overriding the thing that we need to happen. So also with most of that contraception, there's estrogen in it too. So we've got this situation where our estrogen and progesterone should track, but because of this parasympathetic nervous system, issue, we're not making enough progesterone, so we're estrogen dominant. But then if we put in, I mean, even the fake stuff, but we're putting in some progesterone, but no, we're putting in loads more estrogen. We're still estrogen dominant, so we're not
But it's
actually
not,
fixing anything.
and it's not progesterone, it's progestin. So we haven't got
Exactly.
any progesterone, and we've
No.
got estrogen going in, and we've got progestin going in. So we've got
Yeah.
loads of exciter hormones, which are inflammatory, and no progesterone.
And no progesterone at all. So we covered this actually in our contraceptives and HRT talk. We go into great detail in this, and it's a real issue. It's a real issue. There is a lot of research that shows that women who are taking contraceptives have the natural, that their body's levels of hormones are the same as a menopausal woman, but we're talking about women sometimes in their 20s. So it's shocking actually what the contraception as a treatment does. So it also affects our estrobolome. So our estrobolome is part of our gut microbiome. It absorbs our estrogen, but it ends up really, it's like all this synthetic estrogen. It ends up completely overwhelmed. It can't absorb it. And so we kind of end up recirculating more and more of this estrogen, which starts to build up in the body, becomes very, very inflammatory. And there are a lot of common side effects, as we know, with the contraception.
Well, this is the crazy thing, is that maybe the endometriosis settles down when you take a contraception, but then you've got all of the other side effects: the weight gain, the loss of sex drive, the moods, the digestive issues, the anxiety. There's
But
all
also
these.
it doesn't
It
because
doesn't, it just
well, it
masks it.
might for some women, it very much might. And so I think part of the thing with you and I in clinic is we've always seemed to get like the worst cases of everything. And so we see the women where it's not working. They've had 5 6 surgeries, they've had every single contraception known to man, and it's not working. And it's terrifying. It's a terrifying place to be.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is really interesting because treatment with progesterone can halt the progression of endometriosis by opposing the effect of the estrogen.
It's one of
And
the
then
reasons that they like to recommend things like progestin only contraception, because of this relationship between progesterone and estrogen, and that if we introduce progesterone into the system, then it halts the progression of endometriosis. But there is just this fundamental misunderstanding. So how about treating endometriosis with progesterone therapy? I think that's
with
a really
natural
interesting,
progesterone, yeah.
really interesting place to be.
So progesterone can quiet the endometrial tissue in the abdomen by limiting its growth, and progesterone treatment has been seen to switch off the condition altogether. And natural progesterone has far more anti-inflammatory properties and fewer side effects. There's a problem though, and that is that it's very rare to find a doctor to sign off on it. And it depends on your
Mm.
age, but I know I've got a young client who has horrific endometriosis, and she is one of the people who's been on multiple contraceptives at a time even, and she's now gone to her doctor and said, I want to try the natural, like she I've got nowhere else to go, I want to try the natural progesterone. And the stock response is, we don't do that. And then what are you going to do about contraceptives? She's like, I'm not worried about the contraceptives right now, like that is not a problem for me. I want the natural progesterone. They're like, we don't do that. That is not an NHS response for endometriosis. So they'll give her the synthetic in every single format, but not the natural progesterone.